We knew it was a long drive, and we allowed ourselves 2 days to make it. We planned to leave somewhere between 6 and 7 a.m., and ended up leaving just a little after 7. The GPS had us at a little over 16 hours, and Google estimated 17 hours with 1,097 miles. Close enough. We had decided to make our way over to I-81 in Pennsylvania, trying to avoid the worst of the big East Coast cities. I didn't relish the idea of hauling the car and trailer in some of the worst traffic congestion in the U.S. Now, crossing the Hudson River to Albany, we turned south down 87 and made our way to Newburgh, New York before heading west again on 84 over to Scranton, Pennsylvania for the long ride down Interstate 81. Now, Newburgh has a place in my family's history, as my grandfather had spent the largest part of his life after leaving Newport as an innkeeper, restaurateur, and chef just outside of Newburgh in a small riverside community called Cornwall-on-Hudson, New York. The inn was just a few miles from the West Point Military Academy, and my grandfather would provide lodging and meals to travelers, visitors, and often to military and government dignitaries. But this, I think, is a story better told in the future on the family's historical archive site. It was at our first stop for lunch and fuel at this rest stop that we began to realize how special this car might be. This stop would be the first time of many that folks would flag us down or call to us, wanting to talk about the Camaro. Nearly everyone stressed how much they really loved the split bumper styling over the conventional grille and bumper. It would become a theme. By the time we got onto I-84 West, I was getting comfortable towing the car and trailer at interstate speeds. Probably most annoying, but expected, was the number of roadwork sites we encountered along the entire route. Everyone had the effect of either slowing us down or raising the pucker as we raced along 1.5 feet from the Jersey barriers, often placed on each side of us at 50 or 70 miles an hour. I've never been on 84 through New York and Pennsylvania, so didn't realize the climb and elevation that we would encounter. This 3 or 4 hours until we reached the highest point would be the most brutal on the truck. We would be hauling close to 10,000 pounds combined weight up those never-ending slopes, with the transmission constantly shifting from 6th gear to as low as 3rd. As promised by NOAA weather, Pennsylvania was the only rain that we encountered, and it was off and on, light to heavy for nearly all the time that we were in that state. Turning south again at Scranton, we started down I-81 through the entire state of Pennsylvania, then briefly into Maryland, West Virginia, and then finally Virginia, where we stopped for the night in Strasburg. I was looking for a little higher-end hotel off the interstate where I felt a little more secure leaving the car unattended. It was here, checking in, that we found an older couple outside admiring the Camaro, and they told us the story of their '68 powder blue 327 Camaro that they had been the original owners of and had sold just the week before. There was a hint of both sadness and resignation in their telling. Having locked up and covered the car, Lynn and I headed over to Castiglia's Italian restaurant next door for dinner. And then we headed back to the room where we both immediately crashed until the alarms went off early that next morning. It had been 12 hours on the road. We uncovered the car, loaded the truck, and got back on the road. We got to see some interesting cars and trucks en route, but recognizable to many may have been this truck and trailer that we tag teamed with for several miles. This guy was from Orange County Choppers back in upstate New York. Maybe some of you remember their TV show on Discovery. If so, enough said. We were just crossing into North Carolina where the road was smooth, flat, and straight. We had the tunes playing. It was about 4 p.m. when we arrived at the studios of Autoresto Mod. and unloaded the car.
2, 1, and?
Your one is
Camera 2
live.
is live.
Camera 3 is live.
Audio is rolling. Quiet on the set, and...